Well, howdy everybody. I've had a lot of folks asking about how the L-bond's doing, so I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. So, December 23rd, prior to us going on a little family Christmas trip, I turned the cattle in on this pasture. Remember, it's about 35-acre pasture. There's probably, after you dodge the trees and all the peripherals, there's probably about 20 acres that actually have L-bond growing on it. And I'm going to show you pictures of the grass prior to us putting the cattle in, and then we'll visit about what it looks like now. So currently I'm a week and a half out from having grazed this pasture already, and when I pulled the cattle out, it was grazed pretty much down to the nubbins. There was probably about an inch of grass left. I left them in here about a week, plus or minus a couple days. I don't remember for sure, but it's coming back pretty strong. We've got probably 3 to 4 inches of growth on most of this grass, and seems to be bouncing back pretty good. So I'm going to show you the grass before we turn the cattle in, so you can see the height and how full the pastures looked. And then I'm going to run the cows in here on the day that it turned super cold, and they were in here through that 5-6 day period of time when the temperatures were in the teens and low 20s, and then you can see how it looks now. So when I turned the cattle in here, like I said, the grass was about 6 to 8 inches tall, and it was very healthy green. I was real pleased with how it looked, and I purposely held off grazing it till we were ready to go on a little Christmas trip, and so I just let it do its thing and grow, and then turned the cattle in the day it got super cold. And I'm sure most of you watching, at least in the US, know we had a pretty significant cold snap, and the temperatures, at least here, were down in the teens. And the day I turned the cattle in here, they weren't even interested in the L-bond. It didn't appear when they first came in here. They were actually interested in eating the acorns, and so I was a little worried about that with regard to leaving town and having the cattle engorging on acorns, but apparently they got off of them pretty quick, because by the time we got back, the ryegrass was grazed down pretty good, in fact very good, and they weren't camping out around the oak trees eating acorns. Now the beautiful thing about the L-bond and the cold snap is I didn't have to have any neighbors help me and put out hay and ruin their vacations or their holidays, and so that was a good thing on my end. I didn't feel like I had to impose on anybody. And then the other nice thing was that the cattle actually gained weight. When we got back in town, they were fatter little ticks in good flesh, and the winter weather didn't slow them down at all. So I was exceedingly happy about that. So we've kind of tried something this year, or at least here on this place, that I've not done before, and that was get some winter pasture in. I'm very tickled with what we've got, and it's regrowing. It's not very high yet. We're a week and a half after I pulled them off the Elbon, and it's making a comeback. The color's good. It's a little sparse in some areas, but another 3.5 weeks or so, 3 weeks, and it's going to be ready to graze again, I think. I'm going to show you a place up the road that I have another 15 acres of grass of Elbon, and you can see the height difference on it versus this, so stay tuned. So here we are in the little 15-acre trap up the road that my neighbor has graciously allowed me to use. And you can see this grass behind me looks awful good. It's probably, I would judge, about 10 inches tall, plus or minus. Shorter in some areas, longer than others. But it's really bounced since I was last here to check on it. I do know that after the freeze, I drove by here thinking it was going to be really off-color gray because of the freeze, but it still looked really green and was coming on and doing well. So there's going to be some really good grazing up here. Like I said, I think about another 2 weeks-ish, plus or minus. So I'm going to move the cattle up here and try to get this grazed. I'll probably split this pasture into at least 2 traps, maybe 3. It's a little difficult to get water to the 3rd one, but I think I can do it. But this is done substantially better than I had thought. This is really, really sandy soil. The pH probably is super low. I need to lime it, but I wanted to get some forage on here and then let the cattle trample that in as they graze to get some things working in this soil. So lime probably is my next step, and then I'm going to plant some warm season grasses. This pasture just hasn't had anything growing except weeds, which if you'll look back on some of my previous videos, you can see this pasture at its roughest. But I'm pretty pleased with this. I have no problems with what happened. I was thinking it was going to be a pretty sparse stand back 45 days ago, but it's taken a pretty good bounce, so this is going to be some good grazing. One little aside, I want to show you what I did here. So there's my haystack. When I turn these cows out in the rye, I don't want them to get into my haystack, so I've electric fenced that off. And I tied into the hot wire where that reel is there. That's where my hot comes out of the barn there. And then I came here, put in a terra post, and hung a reel on it, and then I got a jump wire across that. So when I come in through here with my tractor to get hay, if the cattle are still in here, which probably won't be the case, they'll probably be in a different pasture, but come in here to get hay, then I can just unhook this wire right here, drive through, do my loading and whatnot with the hay, and then drive back through and then put this wire up. So I got a terra post at that end where the hot wire hooks on, one here that I've made a gate with, and then this reel goes all the way around the hay and hooks into a barbed wire fence back at the back. So just another way to make a gate, and it works really well. You just got to remember to hook up your jump wire when you're done. So I've got a jump wire here that goes over to there, and then a jump wire on this side And then as well, I got a jump wire clear back there in the back. So just a little idea for you. Just kind of manufacture things as we go and decide what I'm going to do.